Reality TV shows are interesting because they present to the audience real material about true things that happen in life. Viewers can relate to these shows, and sometimes they can even find solutions to their own problems through shows like Dr. Phil. Sometimes, Dr. Phil even gets moved by a situation, and so he offers to help. Although, sometimes his help can end up teaching someone a hard lesson. For example, we're now presenting to you the top 5 people who got owned by Dr. Phil. Of course, this is all out of his kindness, generosity, and courtesy to give a helping hand to those who need it most. Now, let's watch these people's stories, but before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. That being said, let's begin. Number 5. A girl supposedly pregnant with baby Jesus. Haley was a teen girl who appeared several times on the show. She was convinced that she'd been pregnant for 9 months, although doctors and pregnancy tests showed that she was not pregnant at all. She refused to believe so. Moreover, she was convinced that she was pregnant with baby Jesus himself, and waiting to give birth to him. She refused to let go of this idea that overwhelmed her. Anyone who heard that broke out in laughter, but some sympathized with her. The girl must have been suffering from some kind of mental issue that shouldn't have been overlooked or neglected. Dr. Phil found her case very different, and he arranged for her to get an ultrasound to check with her own eyes that she was in fact not pregnant. However, Haley was still convinced that she was pregnant. And you'd be surprised with this girl's vivid imagination. She thought that Eminem, the rapper, was her father. Not only that, she also said that she was a contestant on American Idol, and it was all made up by her imagination. Her parents denied all of what she said. Dr. Phil decided to arrange a treatment facility to Haley, and he'd be responsible for all the charges. What a nice guy. Yet, her case still showed no progress. Finally, Haley appeared in one episode, and it was obvious that she'd come to terms with the fact that she was not pregnant or going to give birth to baby Jesus, like she'd always believed. She said she only had stomach gas, but she was still sad about the truth. Well, what do you think of that? Number 4. Racist girl owned by Dr. Phil. This girl put on blackface and thought it was funny. Her racist talk was really terrible and inappropriate. What she did and thought was funny actually encouraged others to make black people feel inferior. Making racist jokes is not in the least bit funny. They hurt people's feelings, and it's something just really lame to do. So don't do it. Here's how it all started. The girl put on blackface and posted it all over social media. And when she was interviewed in an international TV show, she said it was just a meme. When they asked her about the reason she did the blackface, she just poker faced because she already knew she was wrong. She said she was having a hard time in life and that it was a joke, but that's not an excuse. The girl got roasted by her school in front of everyone. The girl who knew her joke would be offensive to a lot of people and yet still made the joke should have prepared herself for the repercussions. Social media is a place where all people freely express themselves, and seeing something that they don't like would trigger some people to bombard the content with hate and aggressive comments. Many people told her to kill herself in the comments. Also not okay. Then, Dr. Phil took matters into his own hands, and he introduced her to a civil rights lawyer. She had to look into their eyes and confront herself about the truth about how serious her problem was. When the lawyer explained to her that her joke was not funny, since she was doing the exact same thing that white people did in the past to make themselves feel superior to black people. In other words, she told her that she was promoting racist ideas. Obviously. The girl, of course, felt very ashamed and wished she could hide herself. Imagine how she's gonna have to deal with seeing people face to face after this episode. Number 3. Spoiled girl gets owned by Dr. Phil. This is one of the most provoking videos you'll see all day. This girl is spoiled like no one else in this world. She wants help from Dr. Phil because her mother decided to give her less than her usual allowance. She decided to lower it to less than $2,500 per month. Now, can you imagine a 15-year-old girl who takes that amount of money per month? Of course, that indicates how rich her parents are, but they raised a very spoiled, materialistic girl who's very demanding and selfish. When her mother gives her less money, the girl seeks help from Dr. Phil, who finds that really weird and abnormal, which is nicer words than I would put it in. Dr. Phil does not approve of the girl's behaviors, but decided to listen to her and see what she would have to say. The girl sounded really demanding. She was accusing her mother of not giving her daughter her due. She also added that her mother couldn't just change her lifestyle like that because it was what she was used to. She also wanted her mother to buy her a very fancy, very expensive car, a G-Wagon. Dr. Phil intervened when the girl started bragging about herself and how she dropped out of school because she didn't want to study, but she goes to an online school. He put a stop to her by telling her that she needed to get her own job so she could make money to spend in whatever way she pleased. The girl cried because she said it was so much work. This was a really smart way to make the spoiled girl know the value of every penny she made. She learned how to spend her money like a normal, down-to-earth human being. It's really sickening that the girl was speaking to her mother in that way. She threw all the blame on her mom, who raised her up to be a brat. She said she was always given money and not love when she was just a child, and therefore her mom had to pay the price because she made her daughter used to that kind of living. I believe that even though the girl is really conceited and wrong, her mother is still partially to blame since she never refused to give her daughter the money. So she had to expect that her daughter would get corrupted. So she helped in allowing all that to happen. Sorry, not sorry. Number 2, insane gold digger owned on Dr. Phil. This episode was mind-blowing to a lot of people. You're about to see a really weird couple whose relationship seems to be paving the way to their tragic death, yet they're still dating and they sort of enjoy it together. Lewis said Marianne literally shot him in his head before. According to the police report, Lewis was upset that Marianne was interacting with men on social media, so he returned 2 times telling her to leave and threatening to harm her physically. So Marianne felt that she had to defend herself, and as a result, the police reported that there was no warrant against Marianne for attempted murder. So was that jealousy issue worth risking your partner's life? Now listen to the funny part. Lewis was living in La La Land. He told her that after her attempt to kill him that he wouldn't press charges. What a gentleman! Forget about flowers and chocolate, this guy took it to a whole other level indeed. Imagine how they fight together and how dangerous it could get. Guns are nothing to these two. Dr. Phil was surprised when Marianne told him she loved Lewis. So what was the point of shooting him if she really loved him? That's really confusing and disturbing, and Dr. Phil thought so too. Lewis said that even though he loved Marianne too, he'd never forget the night she shot him, because the scars of the surgery would always remain. This reminds me of Evanescence's song lyrics. These wounds won't seem to heal. This pain is just too real. There's just so much that time cannot erase. Lewis in the old show told Marianne that he brought her to his house and that she was a gold digger who ran after money. But she said that he liked her pictures and so on. Dr. Phil was worried that they would fight and he didn't want a real murder to take place in his studio, so he advised Lewis not to piss her off. Good call, Doc. It's really an awkward relationship filled with drama, tragedy, action, and horror. Like a play. If someone dates a woman like Marianne, they should really avoid pissing her off. You never know where she'll shoot you. Number 1. The woman who said that men hit women because they love them. This girl's concept of love is weird and makes no sense. But she is very convinced that she's right. Romina Garcia was a 19-year-old girl who was interviewed by Dr. Phil after the video that went viral in which she was promoting domestic abuse. She was literally defending abuse. She filmed a whole video having a black eye and educating women and girls that when their boyfriends or husbands hit them, it meant they loved them so dearly. What? What's her explanation for that? She said that if someone could risk their life to go to jail, it indicated how much they love you. In other words, she saw it that if someone was willing to go to jail for you, they adored you. Yeah, it's true that love means you can sacrifice your life for your beloved, but it does not mean beating your partner. She was wrong on so many levels. I can't count very high, but I know it's a lot of levels. To be honest, her logic makes no sense. No one could ever justify abuse. That's why it's called abuse. What about someone who defends it? Absolutely ridiculous. Women empower each other, and they fight hard in order to end discrimination and abuse. But someone with Romina's mentality would be a threat. Dr. Phil told her that he was really worried and displeased with her concept of love, because he was afraid that his audience of women and young girls would follow Romina's footsteps blindly, and that would lead to a crisis. He was afraid that a lot of women and girls would accept abuse because it apparently meant love, as Romina believed. Of course, that was really embarrassing to Romina, and the audience clapped. Women who were watching the show literally had their jaws hit the floor when Romina was justifying abuse. Later on, Dr. Phil presented another video for Romina after she broke up with her boyfriend. And can you guess why she broke up with him? It's because he didn't beat her hard enough, so she felt like he didn't love her as much as he did before. So, I know you're confused and angry, It's pretty shocking and disturbing. Sadly, before her 20th birthday, Romina passed away. Cause of death was drugs. And that's the end of our video. Tell us in the comment section below what you think about those people who got owned by Dr. Phil. Do you think they were making up their stories, or they were telling the truth? Let us know why you think that way in the comments. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more interesting videos. Have a nice day.